Okay, we're going to start our session now. Again, this is Aubrey Evans from C&A Technology. We call it CAT for short, and you're attending our JD Edwards EDI Managed Services webinar. This is part of our CAT end-to-end managed services webinar series. So this is a portion of our managed services portfolio. I am the co-founder and EVP of Sales and Marketing for C&A Technology, and based out of the New York metro area. We're going to have two presenters today. We're going to have Michelle Mathias and Craig Hill. Michelle is CAT's JD Edwards EDI Practice Operations Lead for all EDI Coordination, Mapping, and JD Edwards Integration. Michelle is based out of Simpsonville, South Carolina. And Craig will also be presenting. He's one of the founders of the organization and also EVP for delivery. And Craig is based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Just as a heads up, the audience will be on mute for the entire presentation. However, we strongly encourage everyone to submit questions. You can submit questions in the GoToWebinar questions section. So you'll see a tab there that has questions, and all you have to do is enter those questions. We will have a 10-minute session at the end of the presentation for Q&A, where I'll present them to our presenters to respond to the questions. So, Michelle, if you could just go to the next slide. So just a quick agenda. We've done introductions already. I will do a quick company overview, which will just be for a few minutes, and then we'll move over to the actual EDI Managed Services program, where we'll be speaking about our approach, then our service level agreements, a benefits summary, and then after that we'll have the Q&A. Typically this will take about anything from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and as I said, we'll have a 10-minute Q&A, and then we'll talk about next steps. If you can go to the next slide, Michelle. So we're going to do a company overview. Okay, so just a quick review of who the founders and partners of the organization are. Craig and Aubrey are the C&A of C&A Technology. I have a background of JD Edwards, where I worked for JD Edwards for many years, and I run sales and marketing. Craig runs service delivery, and one of the key individuals that runs our EDI practice is Jeff Copper. He runs the JD Edwards practice and EDI practice, and Jeff has a significant amount of EDI experience working for corporations in the EDI realm. If you can go to the next slide. So we are a gold partner of Oracle. We specialize in JD Edwards, and we also have the ability to resell. But the key mantra of the company is, you can see the slogan there, aligning business systems with business strategies enabled by technology. And I'll speak more to that in the next slide. So if you look at the two components of the slide, and again, we're all about business and enabling technology. For us to be all about business, these are very important portions. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that we perform as an industry and business advisory. For us to be able to do that, we need to understand industry process, and we go beyond just the operational side in that we also look at analytics and the performance of companies that we deal with. On the right-hand side is more the enablers of how we operate as a business advisor. For us to be able to do that, we need to be able to sit down with our clients and do business solution assessments, where we will interview you and talk to you not just from a JD Edwards perspective, which we look as a technology, but also from a business perspective. And this very much applies to the EDI realm as well, because EDI is all about business. And so we like to understand your business totally, and that helps us perform an EDI approach and make recommendations regarding that. So the other two elements that come out of the business solution assessments is optimizing JD Edwards, or if we're dealing with someone that's new to JD Edwards, we talk about implementations, or with an existing JD Edwards client, optimization could mean we're recommending an upgrade. So those are typically things that emanate from a solution assessment. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so obviously technology, our major technology enabler is JD Edwards, and we cover every aspect of JD Edwards, being financial, supply chain, distribution, manufacturing, and then we have the boutique products like warehouse management, advanced pricing, configurator, and this is something that we cover quite extensively. Now, obviously, in the EDI space, for us to be able to manage EDI, we need to be able to be very proficient in supply chain, distribution, and manufacturing. So it's sort of of second nature to us to be able to have an EDI practice. And then data collection, obviously technical development, C&C, and cloud are all the technical sides of JD Edwards that we fully support as well. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of C&A Technology. What I'd like to do now is to introduce Michelle Matthias, who's now going to talk to us about the EDI Managed Services program. So Michelle, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. I think what we bring different to EDI is that we do give what we call our 3 pillars of EDI support. So we can help you with your EDI coordination, which would be your strategy, project management, new customer onboarding of the new transaction sets. And to kind of go more in depth with that can be anything from helping you think of new ways to use your EDI. And it doesn't have to be just straight X12. We can help you with any type of data integration into JDE. Which then goes to the mapping and translation side. We can help you with all your mapping. It can be on-premise. We will kind of do any kind of mapping that you need for you, depending what your EDI solution is. We specialize in many, many, many EDI packages. We work with the AS400 when you look at Gentran or TLE. We work on the Windows basis of Gentran for Windows, Gentran Director, B2B Integrator, Biz Manager, and multiple others. That is just some of the bigger known ones that are out there. But where we are different from most is that's where most companies stop for you. They will kind of sit here and hand you the file, or they'll put the file in the F47 tables and say, here you go. We do it a little differently. We help you to continue with that in any of your flow through JDE. So we can make sure that the order is actually in there for you and not just it's in the F47 tables, it's no longer our problem. If you want to customize programming, the programs to get those in, we can help you with all of that. We have the resources and the technology behind all of this to make sure we are a one-stop shop for any of your EDI needs, not just the mapping or EDI coordination, but truly the whole entire integration piece. That comes to giving you a little bit of war stories. We actually have worked with clients that when we walked in, they had hundreds, actually, honestly, thousands of transactions that had not been processed through JDE because of custom code by somebody else. We have came in there and have cleaned up this to the point where it's a remarkable system, and they've had to customize JDE for what they need it to do, but we've been able to come in to help them to make it a simple, easy running, viable business option for them now. And we just keep improving it for them. And I can just go on and on of the different stories of not understanding the whole process that we've been able to go in and help companies to give them that whole process. With your managed services agreement, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about the whole incident and problem resolution, SLA compliance reporting, and then obviously the communication of all of it. The communication side, we make sure we have a weekly meeting with you to go over any open issues, upcoming projects, talk about what is needed, what is going on, what are issues, what are problems, anything that we need to discuss as a group. We discuss as a group, that is anybody that's working on your project and anybody from your company. The SLA compliance reporting, we make sure you get a report on a monthly basis that tells you how well are we doing? Have we met all the SLAs? Where are we at with them? And then we also have the incident problem resolution, which will give us the information that you need and us informed quickly of what the problems are. The one thing I want to stress is we're not just the one stop of EDI only. We can help you with every part of your JDE. So, we have our EDI team, but we also have various people on every part of JDE. So we don't stop just at EDI. We can make sure we can help you with every part of your JDE business that you need. And the one thing that we give you is the JIRA service desk, which I'll kind of talk about next, which I think is what helps us be better at helping you with all of your issues, no matter if that is EDI or if that's a JDE issue. So the JIRA service desk, it has a little main screen that will tell us how long we have once the ticket comes in, and you literally have an email address that you can send the ticket to, and it pops up to us immediately to tell us we have an issue. And at that point, we can go in and we can know that it's there. We can go in and assign it to who's going to be working on it. You get the information right back of who is working on it. And then depending on what type of issue it is, we will report back to you at a certain time frame of where things are and what is going on with that, and making sure you know exactly what's happening. And this is how we also track all of our open issues with you, open trading partners being set up. So at any given time, you can jump into the JIRA system and know everything that we're working on, how long has it been open, where are we at on it. We keep it updated for you so that you do know exactly what's going on with it. And if you do have a question about it, you know who's working on it. So you can go directly to the source that's working on it and get your answers if you need to. The EDI service benefits is, number one, you get resources. I am on a lot of the projects, at least as a senior lead on it, and then have a supporting staff that helps. But with that, I have 25 plus years of experience doing EDI. So we make sure that we have a team that can help you and is a benefit to you. We make sure we get all aspects of this covered of what you're looking for and what you're needing. And again, we don't stop at just EDI. It is the full gamut of all of your JDE needs also. Your service levels, we're on time. We make sure your system is stable. We make sure it's always up and running. We are there on call for you. We make sure what you need is what you're getting. And again, we bring a team atmosphere. We don't just bring one individual and say, okay, this person is working on your contract now, so now that person all of a sudden is gone or is sick or out. We bring a team, so at any time somebody else can jump in and help. Now I'm going to hand it over to Craig.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, this is Craig Hill, co-founder of C&A Technology. I'm going to go through some of the contractual side of this that Michelle touched on, but just focus on this. So we have different priorities on the tickets and the incidents that can happen throughout the course of doing business. So we have, the three different severity levels here: production down, cannot process EDI transactions, and maintenance or new transactions. So SEV 3 is just kind of normal course of business. SEV 2 are problems, and SEV 1 is the highest level of problems. So built into a standard SLA contract with us for EDI Managed Services is how often those things are in the contract, how often they're expected to happen or not expected to happen, but supported in the normal contract, right? Because it has we're trying to right size this for you from a contractual standpoint, and have different responses and different events built into the contract. So there's a different response time course for each of the different severity levels, and when we're going to first contact you, when we're going to update you, the contact frequency, the higher the severity, the more frequently that you'll be contractually communicated with. And we're not going to wait for these intervals. We're going to contact you as necessary and as appropriate. And then there's the target resolution. How long does the contract assume we have to resolve the issue? So that's the overall kind of structure to it from a severity standpoint. Let's go to the next slide, Michelle. And then we have our coverage times. So the standard coverage is Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then after hours are start at that point at 7 p.m. and go through the night to 7 a.m. the next day and cover weekends. So after hours support is on an on-call basis for things like production down or different severity, and then there's a rate for those incidents that happen outside the standard hours, and there's a standard response time for after hours requests of 2 hours. And then of course the C&A Technology holidays, we work through the holiday schedule with you for what we have and what you have, and that could be in the Monday through Friday timeframe, of course. So that's our standard approach from hours of coverage and what business days are covered. Let's go to the next slide. So what are the benefits of using EDI Managed Services? And we do have full application services, managed services that we can provide. So there's the different types of skills that are available. We do project management and coordination around what you're trying to do, whether it's an incident that needs to be resolved or a new trading partner or a new transaction for existing trading partner needs to be stood up. We provide coordination and tracking of how long is it going to take to do this, if it's a project-based thing or it's a severity or an incident resolution process. Just the coordination around who's involved, who needs to be communicated with, who's working on the resolution, when is it going to be resolved by. So that EDI coordination can be from a project standpoint or just day-to-day maintenance. The mapping, we provide mapping expertise for you that you may not have in-house, or you may not need that often when, say, a new transaction comes along. So we can do maintenance of troubleshooting, issue resolution, develop new maps or adjust maps if a trading partner needs to change their map or add, say, cartonization aspects to an existing ASN 856 type of thing. We can maintain that map and enhance it as required in doing business with a trading partner. And then, of course, as Michelle said, what's unique is that we also provide JD Edwards functional expertise, that even though a transaction may make it into System 47 inside Edwards, how does it relate to order activity rules, line type rules? How does it transact into the system, whether it's sales order management or the purchasing side, if you have vendor side EDI transactions? How does it really operate within the context of JD Edwards? So we can help resolve those things and work with your internal support team or extend your ability to support JD Edwards within your organization. We have that expertise. So we can provide all of those different skill sets for you, and it's included in a managed services agreement. So it's a turnkey solution where you're getting all three different types of expertise. Let's go to the next slide. So now there's a standard number of hours included in the managed services contract, and we can do all those different types of things within that. Now on the JD Edwards side, let's say you have hours left over in the contract, or you just have some work that needs to be done. We can not only supply EDI expertise, but we also have CNC expertise, JD Edwards functional expertise, and JD Edwards software development expertise. So you can consume those hours in your standard contract in any way you'd like. It doesn't just need to be limited to EDI. So we're an EDI, if you have an EDI service provider that just does mapping and coordination, you know, you really, if you don't have any other work, those hours are really you know, used. You don't get to capitalize on those hours in other ways that are more flexible, that might be in different areas of the system, maybe nothing to do with EDI, but you're welcome to use those extra hours as you would desire. So we have a, you know, a wider span and of resource expertise and capability. Next slide. So a summary of the benefits here is our services give you access to experienced JD Edwards, not just EDI consultants. We have, we don't use anybody that's inexperienced. Everybody has a deep level of expertise and skill. And we have a lot of years of experience serving customers, so that customer service focus is built into the styles and capabilities of our people. We have software development expertise. We have experience mapping expertise. We've done thousands of different maps for all different types of industries and different types of trading partners, you know, whether it's on the sell side or buy side, you know, customer vendor related, whether it's inbound or outbound, the full life cycle of the EDI transaction life cycle, you know, we can support that whole thing. So we have on-demand services that other EDI only service providers don't have, and we do include in the contract an upgrade of your translation software. That's included in our pricing, and we have the flexibility that if you need less hours, we'll right size the amount of support. So as you know, you go in, if you have an expectation of the standard hours you want to include in the contract, we can negotiate that with you, and then we can adjust it as we go based on the experience that we have with your given situation. So I'll turn it back over to Aubrey for questions and answer.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks, Craig and Michelle. So I see that we do have a few questions that's been submitted by the attendees. What I'll do is I'll read them and then invite Craig or Michelle to provide answers to them. So the first question is, do you support JD Edwards World customers? And Michelle,
I can answer that.
Thanks.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely we do. And you know, any of that, we have expertise in all the JDE products.
Correct. Another question, what are the objections from a typical JD Edwards customer's IT and users to moving forward with an integrated JD Edwards EDI approach? I think what they're saying is, are they receptive to doing the JD Edwards EDI portion as well?
Again, I think that is something that we bring to the table that everybody just loves, because we don't just stop at here's your file, or here we got it into the F47 tables for you. I think it is definitely the biggest benefit we bring.
Okay, another question. How do you cater for if the hourly requirements change over time?
I can take this one too.
Okay.
We work with you. So if as the time goes on, you realize, you know what, we need more hours, we'd rather work with you and get you more hours and make sure you're getting what you need.
Thank you. And I see one last question. Aubrey mentioned that you also do application and CNC managed services. Where can I get more information about that? And I'll answer that one. So in the beginning of the program, I said that we have a series of managed services presentations, and this is a component of our managed services. So what I'm going to do is a wrap up. In fact, I might as well do that now. Josh Marcus, who's our Director of Sales for CAT, will be following up with each one of you to determine if there's any further questions that you may have particular to your organization. And so as a part of that, he'll also enlighten you about how this fits into our full application service management program, and whether that would be something you'd be interested in as well. As Josh will also be discussing our pricing models. The reason why we don't do that on this call is we feel that it's specific to each company. He'll explain to you how we calculate it, how we scope it out, and then obviously how it pertains to your company. We'll also send out a link of this recording so that sometimes certain people in your company have not attended, so they can at least have a look at the presentation as well. So that's pretty much wraps it up. Thanks everybody for attending. We had a great attendance today, and thank you for your questions. And we will be this concludes the end of the webinar, and please have a rest of good day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.